Hello and welcome to Audiotree Live. Today is Monday, October 11th, 2021, and we are very happy to have Jeff Pianki in the studio with us. Take it away, Jeff.
Julie in July, oh my God, dreaming of the way she walked away, and then she stayed in my mind. Somewhere in the midst of thoughts of you and I'm with Julie in July. Julie in July, a nice thought. In another lifetime she is mine and I am hers, and so on. I will set the table, she will grab the takeout from anywhere is fine, as long as I'm with Julie in July. Counting the cost of denial, thinking I'm lost in the wild. But time isn't working the same way, and I think we're riding a wavelength, choking a thought for a namesake. All that I want is a brain break, and I look at you like a champion, but right now I feel like an athlete. In some other life you were Samson, I guess that makes me Delilah. Been looking around for revival, thinking that I'll give it a title. One at a time I can handle, but what if I can't hold a candle? I burn a bridge to survival. Where do we go from an island? I let you live in denial. I guess that makes me Delilah. I always wanted an answer, I was never ready to find one, but I think we're riding a wavelength. You and I had to fall down some, 'cause what if we stayed in the same place, and I kept a job just to save face? I couldn't be your Messiah, I guess that makes me Delilah. Carry it into the wild, keep it somewhere I can't find it. I'm gonna trust in the line. Don't wanna be your Delilah, don't wanna be your Delilah, don't wanna be your Delilah. I wish you were staying. I would make breakfast, starting with bacon, scramble the eggs next. I'd cut up a grapefruit into scoopable sections, squeeze you some orange juice and test it for freshness. I wish you were staying so I could feel you tomorrow. Get your scent on the blankets, and and that shirt that you borrow. Act like I'm not awake yet. Shift around so we're facing. Soak it in for a second, then get up and cook breakfast. I wish you were staying. I'd remember this later, how I couldn't quite say it, but you felt like a favor in exchange for the last time. God, I thought I was broken. Life was moving at halftime, and I was crossing an ocean. I got past all that anger. I don't feel like a stranger. I'd understand if you left, but if you stay, I'll make breakfast. If you're not feeling hungry, I could brew you some coffee, and we could keep talking. I just wanna keep talking. I really wish you were staying. When I look at your face, it makes me wanna be reckless, and then make you some breakfast.
You're watching Audiotree Live with Jeff Pianki. Jeff, so good to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here.
I know we planned it right before the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic hit, and we had to wait a year, but now we're here, and it's good. I love that song. It's like, it's so contained, and you feel like you're just like following you around in the morning, and it's just so good.
Thank you so much. That's a newer one.
Yeah. So you're just coming off of a few shows that your first show's back after the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Correct? Yes.
It's funny to say that because
I know.
we were playing them together.
I don't know whether to like play it cool, like so as a VJ, or like be like, we played some shows together, but we played some shows together.
And for those that don't know, Jessica writes beautiful tunes, and it was such a fun group of shows.
It was really fun.
Kind of fun to end it this way.
It is. How was it being back?
It was crazy. It was wild. It was crazy to release a record last year and then just kind of see it in the void, and then not really know what was hitting with people, and not knowing what would play well live, and then playing songs and kind of seeing what worked and what didn't, or what felt more exciting to play live. It was kind of a totally different experience, and it was super fun and interesting.
Yeah. Did you have any sort of surprises? Or did you think that some would go over or some wouldn't, and it surprised you?
I guess there was like a song from the record that we weren't really sure how it would play over. It's like an electronic-y song, and we started doing an acoustic version during the ending, and actually the show in Chicago, the whole gang in the audience started singing the electronic melody, and that was kind of a magical moment. It was kind of just cool to feel connected to people again. I feel like that was a big thing.
I agree. I was standing in the audience. I was like, this is a really cool moment, because you didn't direct them to continue singing, but they just did.
They just did it the whole time.
I know.
It was like weird and kind of haunting and spooky and amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome. So your first shows back were in Michigan. Was that intentional, or was it sort of just happened that way?
It was a little bit of, I haven't played shows in a really long time. I took like a 6-year break from playing shows and releasing music, just because I got really self-conscious, and that whole mid-20s conundrum that everybody goes through, I think. And I was really wanting to play shows again, and I kind of grew up playing shows in Michigan, and so it just made sense to come out here and kind of dip my toes in the water again before playing in totally new places, and it has definitely felt like home. Chicago was also like a second home for me for music, so yeah, it felt like the right move.
Yeah, it felt kind of like symbolic, because I listened to you on a podcast, and it is true that like your first record came out during a lot of like formative time in people's lives, and you've become sort of like a mythologized figure in a sense like that. So to come back with a new record in Michigan feels sort of like a coming out of like, I'm back and I'm going to be playing songs again, and here's my new record. And it felt really powerful.
That's good to hear that. Right?
Yeah.
It felt like a good place to, because Michigan is so, the Midwest, it just like, that record even sounds like the Midwest to me, even though it was made in Los Angeles with somebody from Seattle. Yeah. It just felt right to be back here, and I was like, oh yeah, that's where all this comes from. Yeah, so.
I agree. There's just something about Midwest records. You can take the boy out of the Midwest, but you can't take the Midwest out of the boy.
It's so true. It really is. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go into your next 3 songs.
Yeah. Ariana, you want to come in here and sing some tunes with me? This is Ariana Lenarski. We're in a band together called Bandwave, and she came on this tour with me and has helped me sing some of my tunes, and I'm super grateful for her being here.
I'm super excited to be here. This is awesome.
All right. Tune real quick. Song's called Hard Love. Looking back, I felt a false sense of safety, almost as if we weren't hanging by a thread. Looking back, I thought that loving you was easy. Looking back into the back of my head, I saw a fire floating out of your eyes. I saw our love before you willed it to die. I saw the water in the river had dried up, and now I know what I didn't know then, that it's a hard love, hard love. It's a hard love to be in. A hard love, it's a hard love to be in. It's hard to handle how you see me as a stranger. A couple months and you'd forgotten where we'd been. Maybe down the road you'll call and we'll exchange words. Maybe down that road I'll understand. I saw fire floating out of your eyes. I saw our love before you willed it to die. I saw the water in the river had dried up, and now I know what I didn't know then, that it's a hard love, it's a hard love to be in. A hard love, it's a hard love to be in. Some days I wonder if a part of you might need me, a selfish thought that leaves me hanging by a thread. Still I tell myself that love is never easy, and push the bad days to the back of my head. The song's called Annie in the Wild. If you see Annie in the wild, don't say I'm grieving. Tell her I'm moving right along, meeting new people, if she wonders where I've been, say something harmless. She can't know I'm hardly leaving my apartment, and I can't stay sad forever, but it feels good to do it right now. If she asks, I've never been better, I just can't see any around. In the 3 months since we split, I've regained feeling, just enough so I could bear the thought of breathing. And it looks easier for her and hurts to see it, but we both lost something we both thought that we needed. And I can't stay sad forever, but it feels good to do it right now. If she asks, I've never been better, I just can't see any around. Oh, I can't stay sad forever, but it feels good to do it right now. If she asks, I've never been better, I just can't see any around. Thanks. I feel like we spent a lot of time tuning on this tour, Jessica.
Really did. And I ran out of tuning talk about probably during the first day. So by yesterday, I was like, I don't know what to say anymore.
Alternate tunings are a blessed, cursed thing.
Mm-hmm. I have to agree.
All right, the song's called The Weight of Us. There are songs in our lungs, there are words in the walls, there are secrets on our lips that were buried with our love, and there are shadows in the sun. There is cold in the coming months. There is light beneath the boards, still breaking with the weight of us. Is there comfort in the thought, if we don't admit what's lost, if we just forget the cause of everything that became of us? And was it written in the dust? Was there more than I could trust? Was there something all along saying we were better off? There are songs in our lungs, there are words fingerprints in the walls. There are secrets on our lips that were buried with our love.
So beautiful.
Ariana Lenarski.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks so much,
Ariana.
Ariana.
Thanks
So
for having
good.
me.
You're watching Audiotree Live with Jeff Pianki. That song in particular feels very Midwestern to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was written when I still lived in Michigan. It was like one of the last tunes I wrote before I went on a break. And I kind of found new meaning over the last few years.
Yeah, that's a great segue. I was going to ask, so you mentioned you took a break and dealt with, mid-20s stuff. So can you talk a little bit about that? Like why the break? Like what was going on?
Yeah. So I made this record in 2010, at the end of 2010, and record is an interesting term. It's like that whole debacle of being a musician is in like what even is a musician or an artist, and claiming that as if it is like some title that has qualifications associated with it is such a complicated thing. So I made this record, and it was basically just like I made it in my bedroom on GarageBand, and there's not much production value. Like this session is like the most professional thing I have done, and that is like nothing. And a few people heard it, and I just totally freaked out. And I had this like weird video on YouTube that got a lot of plays and got a lot of weird feedback that I was kind of just made for fun. And I was like too young to be able to handle it. And so I took a break and like tried doing the IT thing. I worked in coffee for a long time. And everything kind of didn't feel as fulfilling as writing songs. And so I decided that I would rather just try and be a mentally stable person and be an artist and not really concern myself too much about like whether some person was going to think that I was qualified.
Man, I so understand what you're saying. Because it's like there's the writing songs and being the musician part, but then there's the outward facing, I am a musician, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Existential part of everything, which I don't know if everyone thinks about, but I think songwriters probably do a lot.
Totally. I know a lot of artists out in Los Angeles where I'm living now, and I feel like everybody's going through that thing all the time, because every time you make something, you have some processes that stay the same, but you have to basically go out into the unknown, and it's like you translating something that is new to you into something else, and it's kind of scary and weird and can feel kind of lonely sometimes. So
Yeah. How did you know it was time to come back?
I met this gentleman named Steven Aguilar. He's from Seattle, and he's worked with a bunch of people that I really love. And when I moved out to Los Angeles about 7 years ago, I just kind of set out like a Facebook thing. It was like maybe my last Facebook post on my personal page ever. And I was like, does anybody want to jam? And Steve had just moved out to Los Angeles and was looking for people to play music with. And we just kind of became friends and went to shows together and started playing music. And he writes beautiful songs under the name Heat Maps. And around the same time, we were both kind of like, let's do this. And we made these 2 records together. We co-produced both of them, one for his project and one for mine. It was around 2018. We used pretty much all of the same musicians, and it kind of just felt very organic and holistic, and kind of reframed that like collaboration is so healthy and necessary, and it feels so much better to not do stuff alone.
Yeah. I can't imagine. So making your first record alone, like with GarageBand in your room, versus like the community of your second record, that must feel just completely different.
Yeah. It feels so good to hire musicians who have played on records before and tell them abstract things that you want something to feel like. If you're like, I want this to feel like film grain catching fire or something, they'll like play a couple things and get there. It's like, and it's not personal or anything. You can kind of like, collaboration is really exciting, and especially when you're playing with really talented musicians. So
yeah, what a treat. I I totally understand being like, I want this to sound like water, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and because I'm not like trained in like production or anything. So like, that's what I would do. And I would be like, can you get that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I feel like that's a big thing with finding the right people to work with, because I feel like musicians, we're like that, because like you take textures that exist in the real world and you're basically like alchemizing it into what you know how to do, which is songs.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it helps when you have somebody that speaks that language.
Agreed. Finding someone who speaks a similar language is incredible.
Yeah, totally.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
we got to do this.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. So you can go into your last 2 songs.
Cool. It's a new one I'm still kind of working out, called Keep Your Friends. You can keep your friends. You can have your whole life, honey. I liked most of them, but it's another piece of you I can't keep holding on. You can keep the bands. I can't listen to half of them without crying. I can't touch an inch of you or I'll need a mile. You can keep the bands, and you can keep your friends. You can keep your friends. You can keep your friends. But I could see your whole life. You can keep your friends. You can have your whole life, honey. Some very, very polite folks in the control room. Thanks so much. Your support means everything. All right, this will be my last tune. It's called Song About. Song about how long it takes to get over an ex. It's a song about sex. This is a song about my neighbor who has hundreds of friends. He throws parties more than anyone that I've ever met. These are some lines about the times I was severely depressed. Kept the same clothes on, I never got out of bed. This is the part about how hard it was to get out of my head. Start letting things out instead of holding them in. This is me recalling all the long distance calls when we were falling in love, but you were living abroad. Sometimes I find myself searching for space, till I remember how lonely I was in those days. This is a song about you and me, and everything else that falls in between. This is a song about you and me. This This is a song where I go back to a time long gone. I get another chance to fix words that came out long. So I go back to right now. And the people I love are nowhere to be found. So I unfix all the moments I fixed. I get a new appreciation for the good stuff I missed. This is a song about you and me, and weddings and funerals and time traveling. This is a song about you and me. This is a verse about expecting the worst, knowing nothing stays gold, but still knowing your worth. This is a bit about the way that it feels to be lost in the thought that you'll lose something real. This is a song about letting go, about letting you down and then losing control, about saying I'm sorry before it's too late, and forgiving your friends and the people you hate. This is a song about you and me, and making the choice to say what you mean, and everything else that falls in between. This is a song about you and me.
Thank you so much. So glad that this happened.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. This has been Jeff Pianki on Audiotree Live. His record, Remember It Now, is out now. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who made this happen. We'll see you next time.
All right, so you guys want to do it for real now?